Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 most anticipated books for 2021. So, we have a new year upon us, 2021, and I managed to hunt down 5 books that I am eagerly anticipating for this year. I always hate trying to come up with this list at the beginning of every year. I think I say this every year in this video. There's only so many books that are kind of announced in advance that I'm aware of, and there's always books that pop up like near the end of the year that it's like, oh my god, I've never heard of this book and I wish I could have included it on this list at the beginning of the year, you know? So yeah, there's a lot of books that I'm not even aware of that perhaps you guys might be aware of. So yeah, at the end of this video, I definitely want to hear what you guys are most anticipating this year. So let's get going with what I'm anticipating. At number 5, 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. And really all I kind of know about this book is that it's just a retelling of the Iliad by Homer, but from the female point of view. Because yeah, if you've read the Iliad by Homer, it's pretty much primarily through the male point of view, where you get like the character of Hector and Achilles and Agamemnon and everything. So yeah, this time you're getting the female point of view, which from the synopsis that I was reading, I think it definitely like had like Penelope, who was the wife of Odysseus, and yeah, a couple other female characters I can't remember at the top of my head. Helen of Troy is probably one of the points of view as well, but yeah, you get the female perspective this time around. And the thing is, I'm looking over here at my books because I have The Silence of the Girls by, is that Pat Barker? I think that's Pat Barker. And that is also a female point of view of the Iliad retelling. So I'm kind of wondering, are these two books going to just end up being the same sort of book? I'm very curious because it just kind of sounds like the exact same sort of thing to me. But still, I'm really looking forward to this book. I do always love reading anything that takes place during the time of, either the Iliad or the Odyssey. So yeah, come on book, I'm waiting. At number 4, Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. And yes, this is another Greek retelling. There seems to be a lot of Greek retellings coming out this year, you guys. And Ariadne, if you're not familiar with the Greek figure Ariadne, she is kind of notoriously known for being part of the myth, the story that involves like the Minotaur and the Labyrinth. And she gives the hero in that, is it Jason? Is it Jason in that, you guys? I'm trying to remember the myth. I think it's Jason that she gives like I think it's like a ball of yarn or something. Is that what it is? And she gives it to him to help him like navigate through this labyrinth so he can defeat the Minotaur and whatnot. If I'm remembering that correctly, you guys, hopefully I'm remembering that correctly. I do really like the character of Ariadne. Definitely have never seen a book focused on her. This is definitely kind of making me have like a reminiscent feel to the book Circe by Madeline Miller. It definitely has that kind of vibe to me. And also, this is just a random thought. Did anybody happen to watch the BBC television series Atlantis by chance? That was like a 2-season show. It took place, in a an ancient Greek setting. It focused on like Jason, the Greek hero Jason, and it took place in Atlantis before it like is sunk. And yeah, Ariadne was a main character in that show. But yeah, this book made me feel nostalgic about that Atlantis TV show. Seriously, did anybody watch that show? It was so cheesy and corny, but I really liked it. At number 3, A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. And I'm not sure what the hell is even going to go on in this book. Yeah, guys, this is what, book 4? Right? This is supposed to be like book 4 in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. The thing is though, my impression of the first 3 books in the series, that pretty much wrapped up that particular arc in the first 3 books. It wrapped up the story of the characters Feyre and Rhysand, who were your main characters in that series. But yeah, looking at the plot synopsis for this 4th book, it seems like it's going to be focusing on a different story, but, you know, set in the same world with the same characters, but yeah, focusing on a different story this time, I guess, for this particular new trilogy that's coming up. You know, books 4, 5, and 6, I suppose, and focusing on kind of another set of characters that you're already familiar with. God, who were the characters? I can't even remember who the character. I just looked at the synopsis, you guys, and I can't even remember who we're supposed to be focusing on. It's one of the sisters of Feyre, I think. If I'm not mistaken, it's supposed to be focusing on one of the sisters of Feyre and, like, her romance that's going to happen. Is it Cassian? Maybe it's, you know what, is her name Nessa? Is it Nessa and Cassian? I've not read these books in a long time, you guys. It's been a while. I'm trying to even remember what the Goodreads plot synopsis said. I should have maybe pulled it up so I'm not sitting here blanking out on things. But yeah, that's my understanding. This is just a continuation of what happened in the first 3 books, but now kind of just shifting a little, because yeah, that story from the first 3 books is technically wrapped up, but there were still like little threads that were not totally concluded that are going to now be moving into books 4, 5, and 6, I'm assuming. So I'm definitely really looking forward to this 4th book. I really hope it's good and it holds up to the other trilogy, because I really love the first 3 books. So hopefully this one, crossing my fingers, hopefully this is good too, you guys. I'm going to be disappointed if it's not. At number 2, Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, and this is book 2 in the Last Hours trilogy. And this series, oh lord, I always hate trying to talk about the Cassandra Clare books, because if you've not read them, if you've never even got into the series, like, everything I'm about to say is just probably really overwhelming and confusing. But yeah, this trilogy that Cassandra Clare is doing, of which Chain of Iron is the 2nd book, this trilogy is like the sequel to the prequel of, like, the main series of books. Something like that. It's hard to kind of explain, you guys, especially if you've never even read these books. I don't want to sit here just going on and on forever and ever about these, you know, because it's a very complicated, vast world. But yeah, Chain of Iron is part of the greater, larger Shadowhunter universe that Cassandra Clare has set up over the past, like, decade. I think it's been way over a decade at this point. There's a lot of books in this series. But yeah, the Shadowhunter series in general has to do with people who have, like, angelic blood running through their veins, or, like, they're usually teenagers or young adults of some sort. Yeah, they fight against, like, vampires and werewolves and demons and that sort of thing. The first book in this series, Chain of Gold, came out last year. I freaking loved it. I was thoroughly impressed, because, like I said, this is a sequel to the prequel series. And the prequel series, which is not the Dark Artifices, the Infernal Devices. Yeah, the Infernal Devices is one of my favorite trilogies from Cassandra Clare, and I love that. It takes place in, like, Victorian London. And then, yeah, this sequel series from why do I keep saying the Dark Artifices? This sequel series from the Infernal Devices takes place about kind of, it jumps forward about 10-15 years, so we're no longer in the Victorian era, but we're, like, in the early 1900s. And yeah, I'm loving it. I love that first book. I'm highly anticipating this 2nd book. There was a lot of stuff that went down in the first book, a lot of little loose ends and cliffhangers, so I'm definitely highly anticipating what's going to happen to these characters in this world. And number 1, I hope to God this freaking book comes out this year. Goodreads says that it's supposed to come out this year, but I still have my doubts. It's going to be Hamlet by Gillian Flynn. You guys, you heard me right. A Hamlet retelling by none other than Gillian Flynn, who wrote the marvelously fantastic, awesome Gone Girl book. I freaking loved Gone Girl. Yeah, when I heard that Gillian Flynn was going to be doing a Hamlet retelling by Shakespeare, I was like, Yes, sign me up immediately. This Hamlet retelling, there's like a bunch of other books that have kind of been published in years past, with really popular authors taking a work of Shakespeare and you know, retelling them. I can't remember what the project is called, but it's been going on for quite a number of years now. And yeah, Gillian Flynn is the latest author to be part of this. Like several years ago, Joe Nesbo, I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong, you guys. Several years ago, Joe Nesbo did a really fantastic retelling of Macbeth, which I really loved. So I'm really hoping this Gillian Flynn retelling of Hamlet is just as amazing. I'm really curious what she's going to do with it. Because I know the Macbeth retelling that Joe Nesbo did, he put it in like a was it the 1980s? He put it in like a 1980s setting. So I'm just kind of curious what Gillian Flynn's going to do. If she's going to put it in some sort of setting, you know, like the 70s or 80s or 90s, you know, something like that. Or if she's going to keep it contemporary. I'm very curious what she's going to do with Hamlet. Because yeah, I think all of these retellings have to some degree, they've been modern, you know, they've taken place, you know, either, you know, in the recent decades or in a contemporary setting. So yeah, anybody else looking forward to this Hamlet retelling? I found out about it years and years ago, and Goodreads just keeps saying the same thing over and over. But yeah, when I checked when I was coming up with this list, and it did say 2021. So let's cross our finger, guys. Let's cross our fingers and hope that what Goodreads says is true. I don't know. We'll find out. So you guys, that is it for my 5 most anticipated books for the year of 2021. And of course, I mean, there's so many freaking books coming out this year. You guys, there's a lot of books I'm not even aware of at the moment. This video is probably going to be put up, and then like a couple days after it goes up, I'll hear about some other book, and I'm going to probably wish, oh god, I wish I had put it on this list. So you guys, what books that you guys are aware of, what are you anticipating for the upcoming year? Because it might be something I'm looking forward to as well, possibly. So I guess that's it. That's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.